Good afternoon. Officially, it's 12:44, something like that. And happy Saturday. We have a pushback on the pushback of the gag order. So Blake Lively's team and Ryan Reynolds's, they are pushing back on Justin's team and Wayfair, um, saying no gag order. So I have a Daily Mail and a Deadline article, one of each, that talks about this. So I check out my video on the letter. Apparently, it is real. That was the real letter. And then, so I'm going to read off of Daily Mail's. So Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have doubled down on their request for a gag order in their ongoing legal battle. This is a quote, requiring counsel to heed the ethical rules that bind them is not a gag order. It is a mechanism that would ensure the proceedings in this court are not prejudiced by counsel's conduct outside of the courtroom. Attorney Ezra Hudson wrote on behalf of the couple per the outlet. The Wayfair parties is just, okay, lawyer talk. However, you started it first, and the idea that you can put something very damaging, it's not even what Justin and his team and Wayfair, that team, and I don't really like bringing in Wayfair, but anyways, what their team is bringing in is, hey, we're defending ourselves. They're bringing, like, this is what really happened. Here's this proof. Here's that proof. They're not calling Blake or Ryan or anyone anything, but Blake and Ryan calling him an SHer, abuser now, all these things. Are we saying SHer? That's really hard to say. They're calling him all these things, and they're allowed to, and that's not a smear campaign. They're calling it in the media. He's just releasing what he released the New York Times lawsuit and the lawsuit towards them, and then released the video. Has there been any statement from them like Blake Lively's team has had? Like, literally, it's like, oh, no, this is not a gag order. We're just asking, the evidence to not be put forth because it's showing us badly. What? Anyways, it goes on to say the Wayfair parties are attempting to draw a dangerous false equivalent that may have profound consequences, not just for this case, but for other women who are sexually harassed in the workplace, given the high profile of this matter. I guess sorry, I'm just reading. Again, what is, it just screams more and more. It hurts to hear their use of women. Like, you're using women and you're using them now in your case, and you're using them in the PR of around your case. You're using women. It is, and like women who've been through so much, like this is so hard to tolerate. It's not that I'm tolerating it even, but it's hard to like see, and they're just, oh gosh. Even more troubling, however, is that the retaliation campaign that Ms. Lively alleged in her complaint, with substantial supporting documentation, includes highly destructive behind-the-scenes elements, including the regular engagement of Baldoni's crisis PR chief, Melissa Nathan, with her vast tabloid media sources to influence a steady stream of negative media regarding Ms. Lively, as well as a sophisticated and untraceable. Why did they make that like that's a false thing? An untraceable digital social media manipulation campaign designed to impact social media algorithms against Miss Lively, the actress's attorney stated. Wait, did they really? Do they really think that something's untraceable? Do they really think it's untraceable? Dude, I think they're doing worse for themselves because they're saying, let's say, like, okay, I'm just gonna say all of this, outside of reading, this is my personal reaction and belief and opinion, but they're being really stupid. And it's hard to say it otherwise because what? They really believe that Justin Baldoni and his team orchestrated this incredibly sophisticated, untraceable, like smear campaign, digital social media manipulation campaign to impact social media algorithms against her because she had complaints that SH complains that she did not want to go to HR to BS on because you wanted the movie to keep going because I call me stupid. Maybe I don't know, but I would imagine that if she complained, they would have seen what it was, what wasn't. And let's say, she had that happen to her. They would have, I don't think they would have shut down the production of the movie. I think they would have fired him, right? They would have said, hey, like, you need to recast him and he needs to go away. And he would have lost his rights. I would imagine he would have lost his rights to the movie adaptation of the book, and then they would have had it, right? Right? Am I wrong in this? Am I missing something? This is just my logical take on it. That's what would make sense. Not that you would shut, like, maybe I guess you would like delay because you would have to hire a new director and all this stuff. But yeah. Are the lawyers being manipulated, or do they know? I always assume lawyers know everything, and how they choose to present things are in favor of their clients because that's what they're hired for, because client lawyer privilege and all that stuff. So that's what I'm assuming. This just looks worse for her and for them. It looks like they're trying to cover themselves up. It does not look like they're fighting for women, because when has she fought for women? She didn't even understand. I saw someone talk about how she didn't even do any research on what this was about. And anytime that she talks about Lily's character in interviews and how she got into her character and all that, she talks about clothing, which is so ironic considering the Jersey Flaws interview that went viral that she claims was a smear campaign kind of thing. And is she able to make her own decisions by herself? Because she's seemingly, or they are seemingly feeling like we can't make our own decisions for ourselves, that Jersey couldn't make her own decision, that everything was directed by this guy and his PR team, that all of these independent YouTube channels, unlike TMZ, who's not independent, unlike, I guess, New York Times and all these places that are not independent, they're able to be bought. But all these YouTube channels and TikTokers and all this stuff, they're being bought, even though literally at this time in life, they're the only ones who aren't. At least the majority of the people that I've seen, including Candace Owens, including Megyn Kelly, but they're a little bit more mainstream news adjacent. They're highly, they come from that world, and they're highly polished and highly media trained and all that, and have those resources. So, but even they are saying this but besides the point. No, 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 this is not a smear campaign. These are honest people's honest opinions based on what we see. And a lot of this is from facts, not just like what is written in the, lawsuit. A lot of these are we read your text, Blake. And you didn't say they're doctored, right? So they're real. Because he came right away saying, hey, no, these were doctored, these were spliced and diced, the emoji was missing, the context, these were taken out of the context, they were like cut and paste, incorrectly. Like, he came out and said that right away, and you could have done that too. They are so in over their heads is what this says. This is incredible. This is incredible. This is incredible. Like, are they delusional, or are they fully like clear-minded and expect us to be delusional and be able to be swayed to be delusional? This is like the choice, I feel like. This is the question. It continues, the Lively Reynolds parties are informed and believe that these efforts have continued unabated since the CRD complaint was filed. It may have even been accelerated. The administration of justice in this case will be severely compromised if this behavior continues. This is another quote, from the attorney. This is just like, and also, I love how they say this video corroborates to the letter what Miss Lively says. And instantly, they also file a complaint. Or they also file like this non-gag order, gag order. It shows even more how they need to be stomped on like a higher level than just losing this lawsuit. I don't think either of them, I think both sides, Justin and Blake and Ryan, these three people, I think they will work again and be redeemable. Like the president that we have now, the president we had before, so many things, like you see this all the time. Unless it's something like Harvey Weinstein, it's people come back from things. And that's kind of what scares me, because Blake and Ryan have so much power that they come back, but they come back unfairly because they've done so much damage. And I don't even want to think about the people that they have damaged that we haven't even seen because they were not powerful enough, like Justin, to stand up for themselves. How many people lost their jobs unfairly because of them? How many people have, been blacklisted? How many people have had not just reputations, but even relationships tarnished if they have claimed this about other people? Maybe they haven't, but like, how many unfair situations have happened because of them? And if they come back and if they survive this lawsuit and their image is bruised but intact, and their power is bruised but intact, and they might stay low for a while but come back and redeem themselves. I don't think they'll redeem themselves by taking accountability and like true redemption, but I think sorry, to that word, she literally said that the funniest movie that she saw is Shawshank Redemption. So let's pause on that. Gosh, it's just like, if it was a joke, I'm sure it was a joke. I don't think she actually laughed, but that was like a really poor joke. Like, what the heck? This is just more and more things that are coming out, real facts that are coming out, things that we see her say not just people talking about her, but things that we see with our eyes. And she wants us to ignore those things without any explanation, without asking for any grace, without presenting any accountability. It's like, just isn't even acknowledging the things that she said. And now, being in a legal battle, I can also kind of understand why at this point she isn't, because she has her hands full of this one, but like, I can see that how that might, you know, I don't know. I don't think it's a good time. I don't think at this time it might be a good time of where she's concerned. Where we're concerned, it would be a good time. It would help us give her a little bit more grace if she comes forward and says, hey, I messed up here, I messed up there, and I messed up there. She's incapable of it. We've seen it in all the interviews that we've seen. She's incapable of doing anything but pretend she's awkward. I'm sorry, that was mean. Because we don't know. Maybe she's truly awkward. But I also now am wondering, is that a facade? Is that the one place where she is acting? Is when she's like, so, oh, I'm always like nervous and blah, blah, and has this like certain voice. Because I was talking to one of my friends and I was saying, and another TikToker was saying, I'm not a TikToker, obviously. I didn't get TikTok before it went away. But a TikToker was saying, a few of them were saying how she can't act. And I was saying, like many, not only she can't act, she tries to make her characters more Blake. And she did this with Lily. And again, this was the worst possible movie you could do that with, because that's coming into this. People are coming into this not just based on the lawsuits, but also based on the context of this movie and what she did with it. Like the initial issue people had with her. But for her to think that this is a continuous smear campaign, I think we need to do like, I don't know, a unified, badge of like, we are independent. We're independent thinkers. We're independent of no one has said anything to us. No one has paid us for anything. No one has told us to say anything. We're reading things, we're seeing things. And sometimes we even like retract things. Like, oh, okay. Let's take Popcorn Planet, because they're a huge one. They're a huge platform, right? And I imagine they're maybe in Blake and Ryan's minds of an example of one of these like smear campaign collaborators. They're not, but let's take them. They initially reported for Blake, calling Justin creepy, blah, 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 blah. And then things went the other way. When they saw proof, when they saw some really, really interesting evidence. How is that a smear campaign? I guess technically, maybe we're all smearing campaigning, but not because it's like a unified effort. But I guess you could say it in that way, because if you define a smear campaign by a negative view media or the world has of you, then, or how they speak of you, then I guess people are smearing you. But a campaign, it is not. But people are smearing you. I would say that I think a lot of us are just defending women and defending Justin and defending other men that might be very affected by this, because there are innocent men who don't get believed either, and we're defending ourselves at this point. We're defending ourselves like, hey, we have a brain, we have eyes, a lot of us, we have ears, we have at least one sense that we can read, hear, or see what, or all of the above, what is actually being put out there. So Blake and team, put your own stuff out there. And I wonder if I wonder what they'll do to get things dismissed in court too. And maybe that's what they're trying to do. If it's out there in the public, it's out there in the public. If it's not in the public, then in court they can get things dismissed because of whatever legalities, proof, and evidence dismissed. And maybe, I mean, at this point, I think they will go to any and whatever lengths they can to win, not because they're necessarily truthful, but because they have to win. But this has gone way too far. They're going way too far. And they're just, it's like just incredible. They're literally smearing themselves in the sense of they're digging their own hole. And at this point, I think we still feel angry because we're being gaslit on like a public stage, like to that extent, like in our faces. And it is interesting to wonder because often it's talked about such situations when it's one-on-one where like you'll never get closure. You just need to walk away. You'll never get closure. That person often talked about like narcissist, but that person will never hear your side and never believe you and always will twist things around and gaslight you and all this stuff. So there is absolutely no closure to be had. However, how do you employ that here? How do you deal with this when it is a legal matter, when someone's career, livelihood, and his employees are on the line? Employees is livelihood and careers are potentially on the line. And these two PR women, their career is kind of probably up in the air right now. It's probably silent, or some people like believing them, are hiring them. I don't know. But these people's lives are destroyed at this point, or incredibly damaged and potentially destroyed over what seems more and more each day that there are lies, at least about the astroturfing. And what do you do then? Because you can't just walk away. I mean, we can, they can't, they shouldn't. And they shouldn't for all victims of this, not just themselves. And that's like a hard burden to bear. And that's hard on top of what they're dealing with. I understand that. So they can settle if that comes up, they can do whatever. But it's really hard. What do you do when you can't walk away? And it's not about closure, but it's about like fighting for a lot of things, like your livelihood, not to say other things, deeper than that. How do you handle this? How do you handle this? This is really hard, and it's making so many of us angry. It's making me angry, and it's making us scream like we are not part of any smearing campaign. And it's making us scream like, you are gaslighting us, stop. They're not going to stop. People don't stop that do that. They just keep doubling down, and we can see it. At least they are. Keep doubling down. You will believe me. You will believe me. You will believe me. You will be manipulated. You will believe me. That's what they keep doing. Hide the facts so the truth doesn't come out, so they can think for themselves and we can direct the narrative. And we have control over you, Justin Baldoni, Wayfair, Jamie Heath, Melissa Nathan, and Abel. Gosh, I'm sorry, I forget her name. We have control over you, and we have control over all of the public and all of the media. We want that control. How do you deal with that? Try to have a happy Saturday. But yeah, there's more to the article, so check that out. I'll include both articles. You can check them out and read for yourself. Come on, people. Just Stop. I mean, Blake Lively's team, just stop. Just stop. And it's hard. I get it. They're not going to stop because how can you stop? If they stop, but also if they don't stop, they're done. At this point, they're done. Again, I don't believe they're done completely because they have that much power, but they're done for now, according to the majority of the public, because they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't know that. If they had enough support, if they had enough people that were on their side, that were speaking up like, no, it is actually, they're the victim, they wouldn't do this. They would just amplify those voices. Or maybe they would do this, but not to this extreme, They would have released their statement, that's it. But that statement didn't work. So they had to go legal to shut everyone up. Shut the truth up. This is starting to sound like a conspiracy theory channel. I'm not. If you know me, I don't like conspiracy theories. I don't have high regard for conspiracy theories. This is why the real stuff conspiracy theorists and theories like take, and use it for whatever their thoughts are. Anyways, yeah, have a wonderful Saturday. Bye.